We'd just like to remind you, the act you're about to see is not for the faint of heart.
We're ready! Are you ready? Come on, baby!
Dee, my first introduction to music was this. Okay, get ready for this, okay? It was my parents' old Victrola. Yeah, you had an introduction to music. You were in the church choir, something quite different for what you became famous for.
Yes, and just so you know my background, my father had 3 albums. Harry Belafonte live at Carnegie Hall. Deo, Deo. Yes, Fiddler on the Roof soundtrack.
If I were a rich man.
Exactly. And the last one was the real shocker because my dad's like a vet cop. Tiny Tim's first album.
Oh, Tiptoe
Through the Tulip. I don't know
Tulip.
why he loved it so much, but that was my musical backdrop.
No wonder you were like just dying to see a live concert.
I was dying to see a rock concert. My parents wouldn't let me go to rock shows and sort of fought my instincts from the time I was 8 that I wanted to be a rock star.
What do you wanna do with your life? I wanna rock!
So I really didn't go to a concert until I was like 16, 17 years old. So I just wanted to go to a show to see what I was hearing.
And then you formed Twisted Sister in 1972, which was rebellious, and it was like, shocking. And it's kind of interesting because a time in 1972 has some reflection of what we're seeing today.
Most people don't realize how long we were together before the world became aware of us. But it came out of the glitter rock era of the early 70s, which was Alice Cooper, David Bowie, T-Rex, New York Dolls. And this was a real result of the late 60s revolution, I mean, we fought for these freedoms, and now we were expressing it in a big way. We carried it forth for another decade before we got signed.
1, 2, 3, 4!
The name Twisted Sister, where'd that come from?
I wish I could take credit for it, because I take credit for pretty much everything. But the singer before me was on a binge, and he woke up my guitar player, JJ French, at like 5 in the morning and said, I got the perfect name for the band. Twisted Sister. The guy, he didn't even remember it the next day that he made the call, but when I joined the band, I said, no, we're not changing the name. That's gold.
You all were packing places, and you had people screaming and yelling, and you didn't even have like records at the time.
If you like what we're doing, show us you like what we're doing!
It was gratifying and frustrating. We were playing for 1,000 to 4,000 kids 5 nights a week with no record out. They were packing clubs in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Yet by day, we were getting rejection notice after rejection notice from the big suits in New York City, a mere 20 miles away.
If I ever mentioned the name Twisted Sister, I would be fired.
We were so close, yet we were completely under their radar.
And then at one point you said, we're not gonna take it.
If nothing else, the frustration served as inspiration. It was released on the Stay Hungry album in '84 and became this thing. It's almost a folk song at this point.
We're not gonna take it.
No, we ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it
anymore.
If you went into the jungles of Africa and said to some tribe, we're not gonna take it, they would sing back, no, we ain't gonna take it. Everybody knows the chorus of that song.
The Parents Music Resource Center criticized you all for like being too racy. You actually testified in front of Congress.
Myself, Frank Zappa, John Denver went and testified to stand up for our First Amendment rights, freedom of speech, artistic expression. I think I did a fairly eloquent job of showing how they had misjudged the song.
I would like to use this occasion to speak on a more personal note and show just how unfair the whole concept of lyrical interpretation and judgment can be, and how many times this can amount to little more than character assassination.
They accuse this song, We're Not Gonna Take It, of being a violent song. And if you read the lyrics, it's no more violent than the Declaration of Independence. But the video had this cartoon violence in it, and they said, oh, this is a violent song. But it's not a violent song. It's just rebellious.
As oftentimes happens with bands, you broke up, you had some reunion concerts as well. But in between there, you were very open about, you went through a tough time. It's like you're broke. You took odd jobs. You answered phones. You put flyers on cars. You did what you had to do.
Everybody says, I'm going to make it. I'm going to make it. That's the line. I'm going to make it. Like it's a finish line where you're going to, spike the ball, do a victory lap, and live happily ever after. But nobody tells you that it's just a point on the journey. And sometimes there's a sharp drop off a cliff on the other side. And by the early 90s, all the money I had made in Twisted Sister, and I made a lot, I had spent. And the music scene had changed. The band had broke up. Nobody was buying what I was selling anymore. I was married, 3 kids, and I did anything and everything I could. My wife, Suzette, who I've been with for 44 years, is a costume maker and a hairdresser, a makeup artist. She went to work, and I started answering phones at a desk job. It was embarrassing, humiliating, but I needed to put food on the table. The artists that have that career, like Ozzy or Clapton or Elton John, that's a 0.00001%. Most get a couple of years, a few years, and now you have a whole life. You wake up one day in your late 20s and you go, hoping I'm going to live another 50.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do now? And I'm fine now, people.
Yeah.
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Dee Snider is kicking butt, as we say.
You have the House of Hair radio show, which you describe as the weekly syndicated headbanging heaven.
22 years. Over 225 stations. Radio's been a whole nother career for me, as has voiceover and so many things. I mean, I've been on Broadway. If living a good life is such a crime. I never saw that coming, but I never saw Celine Dion recording a Christmas song I wrote for my wife either, but that bought our house. Thank you, Saint Celine.
Now you have your solo career.
Fight till the end, it's how I'm made. American made.
Twisted Sister retired in 2016, and I thought that I was done. A hardcore musician named Jamie Josta challenged me to record a new contemporary metal album. I'm an idiot for a challenge. If you dare me, I go, okay, I'll do it. I didn't want to make an old sounding record. I wanted something that had a place now. And Jamie said, I'll produce it, and we're going to bring in everybody in the metal community. They're going to rally around Dee Snider, because you're an icon and we want to see you back in the limelight. And God bless Jamie Josta and everybody who helped, because that record came out, went to number 20 in the Billboard charts. I hadn't been in the Billboard charts since the 80s. I swear Drake and Kanye were looking around going, what's that guy doing here?
We do it for the love. We release our hate. Where we take the stage for love of metal.
Everybody's going, wow, I wasn't expecting that. And I was screaming, wow, I wasn't expecting that either.
Yeah, what's so cool about you brought new generations into it as well. And there are very few entertainers who can really say that. Your studio singles proved me wrong.
They never stop me for love. They never stop me. How they tried but couldn't prove me wrong.
And I was going to tell you, Dee Snider, if you're going to be wrong, then I don't want to be right.
That Prove Me Wrong was my latest track, and I've spent my entire life, people have constantly said, because I've done so many things, oh, you can't do that, you can't do radio, and prove it to me. I mean, I've been writing screenplays for years, I've sold many, I've written my own memoirs, and I said, you know what, I'm tired of proving to you that I can. You prove that I can for a change.
As you said, if it's a challenge, you're going to take it. Dee,
Exactly. See, I am going to take it.
you are. I'm going to take it. Watch me, I'm going to take it.
I'm changing, I'm rewriting the song.
Yeah, it's an updated version right now. All right,
Exactly.
Dee, thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you so much for having me and for the engaging questions and for doing your homework.